Right, I'm just going to do a quick gripper video, setting and TNS training. So I'll do both in this video. When you're setting grippers, it's pretty much, there's a standard for the best purchase. You got this crease here. I won't talk much through this, but you can just see where I'm holding it there. The bottom is always halfway through the pinky finger like this, can you see? If we're too low down, we lose leverage like that. It's harder to close from higher up. If we're too high up, we can't get full purchase on the gripper. So the best position, which I've seen over the years from all the best, Nathan Hall, Paul Knight, they have setting videos as well, which demonstrate the same thing. So you want to be exactly there. At this point, it doesn't matter how long your fingers are or how big your hand is. You know, anybody can get it into that point. Obviously, you know, if you're deep setting, you're going to assist with this hand. If you're TNSing, then you're going to maneuver and squeeze bit by bit until you can get that rested against the thumb pad. So that's basically how you're setting it. Now, how do I train TNS? Pretty simple. I train for TNS. So we start here in TNS. It's the hardest type of close to do. It's the hardest type of close. We want our fingers doing most of the work here, like a rock climber or something. So we want to be doing this. We want to be holding. We don't want to be coming all the way in, because if that was the case, we could just deep set and train there. We don't want to do that. TNS, for me, and I would say for most people, is going to be hardest there, because you're only using your fingers at this point and your fingertips, which is, you know, obviously a lot harder. So reps, mini partial reps, like this, mini partial, never come all the way in, just stay here, because that's where the TNS is starting, and that's normally the weak point. That's why any wide set with a credit card or you know, TNS is a lot harder. Nobody really trains that much from this wide position. Mini partial reps, hold. Don't use a very heavy gripper unless you feel strong enough, but generally we're holding. We're doing mini reps. And if we do this to failure for 10, 20, 30 minutes, you're going to feel a work on, you know, you're going to feel your hand is really working hard, really hard, especially your fingers, which is obviously where the TNS starts. Another thing, very quickly, when you're using pinch blocks, a lot of people, if you're training TNS, normally this would be your standard hold. With a pinch block, you get the weight on, you do your lift. But with TNS training, you're not in that position. So we don't want to be engaging the thumb. What we want is to cup it like this. So we're using, again, fingertips here. It's an excellent variation. I've used it for years. These techniques that I've used for years pay off if you do them properly. Now, from this position, obviously, again, you're replicating that wide TNS position here, like that, rather than this, which isn't actually useful for TNS, because, you know, nobody holds a gripper like that. So we want to mimic the actual position of the TNS close, which is this. And then get your weight on there, do your lift, and, you know, I mean, even just holding that, you know, the pinch block itself can be taxing on your fingers, you know, especially if you're doing this kind of thing. If you've got weight on there, you know, if you've got like 10 kilograms on there, I mean, that's really going to be, you know, I mean, you could be doing this with a sledgehammer or whatever, but this specifically, from that wide position, mimics TNS. And obviously, where you start a TNS from. So it's that position there. So yeah, that's quick setting video, quick bit of advice on TNS training. The world record for TNS on the Captains of Crush 3 that I've seen is a guy called Nikita Yurkovets, and I've seen him do it 20 times on a video. And Gabriel Sum did it like 17 times. I've TNS rep to 3 for 10 reps. but mine is a lower RGC. So the one, I've got two number 3s. I've got one that's filed, which I would say is around 150, and I've got one that is a bit weaker that isn't filed, and I'd say that's around 140 to 145. So it's a bit easier to TNS, and that's why I sort of, that my record would be 10 on that. You know, a lot of people are talking about RGC and how effective it is as a rating system, as a calibration system. I think the reason that Iron Mind do it from the middle here, you know, when they're actually calibrating, is because that's where most of your hand is, and that's where most of the close is coming from. If you're calibrating from the bottom of the handles here, that's not an accurate representation, because you know, we don't hold the gripper like this at the bottom. You know, see what I mean? We're not holding it from that position. We're actually in that position, and most of the close is coming from the middle of the gripper. Even if you think you've got better leverage and you're a bit further down, well, at some point you've got no purchase. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be roughly around the middle, maybe a little bit lower. So I would say the best place to calibrate a gripper would be about a centimetre up, which is halfway from the middle and halfway from the bottom, because that's almost where all of your main power is. That finger's not much engaged. This one's hardly engaged, although they are involved, but the main power seems to be coming from this central part here. So yeah, anyway, that's just my opinion on RGC. This is why I'm not too bothered about rating my grippers and going through all the hassle of rating grippers, because it's just too random. Anybody could rate it from anywhere, and there's no specific system unless you were in competition, and then obviously you know, you need a standard. But if Iron Mind are measuring it from the middle of the handle, I'd agree with that, because that's where most of your close is coming from. It's not coming from the bottom of the handle here. It's coming from right there, the middle. So anyway, yeah, that's just my thought on it. Just leave a comment. I hope this video helps, and good luck.